Well, hey, how y'all doing out there today? Listen, sorry, I'm not, I'm not sitting in the dark plotting in the world. Actually, I was sitting here talking with my sweetie, and as we were chatting, I was paying attention to the TV had been left on by my brother-in-law, and I was checking out the headlines on it. He likes a certain news channel, and I was listening to some of it and back and forth, like I said, chatting and just doing my thing on the computer, like everybody else, on an afternoon, and I started hearing these numbers and all this talk about the wall again, and because I don't pay attention to the news much, so I'm in and out on it a little bit. And I already know what the wall's for. It's for everything other than what you're being told, just like everything else they do here in this country. So we got to remember that on top of everything. But really, when I see some numbers or I think something sounds outrageous, I got to go take a look see. So I saw where they said they were getting their information from, and sure enough, I went over here to the let's see if I can get it in there for you. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security, got some nice graphs, and I get right here to the southwest border migration, and sure enough, man, this first big pretty graph, it's got the showing the red line for this year and the peak and all the stats and all the numbers. Um, Fiscal year 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, all the way up till February, all the way up to, and sure enough, there's 76,103 southwest border total apprehensions and inadmissibles. I want you to remember that was the combined 76,000. Well, that's when I started to go on back down a little bit. And here's the other one. Here's basically the apprehensions. Well, there was a total of 66,000. Well, that's 10,000 less people. Around a little 9,000 or something less people, but right there at 10,000 less people. And I looked at that, and one thing it says on it, y'all, is, excuse me, because I ain't got no fancy stuff. I think you can see it right there. It says family units and unauthorized access to the country. So 6,800 of them would be the UAC, which is what you would actually consider your gang member, your guy, your terrorist that wants to bring something open. So yeah, they stopped 6,800 people. Well, that's like 8% of what the 76,000 is, but fine. The other one caught my eye. It was 36,174 family units. So families wanting a better life or getting away from a war-torn area. The truth about what's really going on with or just the regular family migrants that have done this for a couple, 300, 400 years, maybe longer, have gone up the West Coast. I mean, who you think picks the apples? Who you think picks the oranges in Florida? Come on. Y'all kill me sometimes. But anyway, it's actual real work. It's actually, they never used to need this thing until the border becomes an issue. And this is part of what I'm pointing out, that there's some lies in here that don't make sense, and the numbers are crazy. Down below is where it goes to inadmissibles. So basically 9,653 were just turned around. So that don't mean that they had a put them in jail. That don't mean that they held them in the back of a truck. That don't mean they put the little strips behind their back and taught them to pledge allegiance to the flag. No, they turn them around. So roughly 9,653, let's just say it like it is, just got turned around at the border. So that chipped away at that 76,000. That makes it 66,000. And it was 66,000 that were actually, the illegals you seem to be being told, or these individuals are coming in with Al Qaeda or whatever, that would be individuals. Well, no, the 66,000 was actually mostly families. And so these numbers ain't adding up, and they're right here on the Department of Homeland Security site. And I'm just going to go back to this big one because it goes back in years. And I want to point out some points in history. This is where I like to look. This is how I research. So maybe this will be a good indicator of why I'm a nut job and a conspiracy theorist, I guess. But it's just the way I look at it. I see that the numbers aren't right. I see that it leans to these families. I noticed that they showed a February statistic on the news of 900 families a day being separated. So that's 2,600 families. So that's fitting right in line with their numbers right here. The actual numbers, not the big whole number of 76,000. But I look at this, and sure enough, February of 19, right there, 76,103. But when Trump actually got in office in January, until then, we had numbers like 66,000, 63,000, 58,000. Sounds like a lot of people getting caught at the border. It don't say which of those are inadmissibles, or, by the way, it don't do the math like I just did for you. So I'm thinking roughly I can take about, 8 to 10,000 people off each one of these. But sure enough, in February, he goes into office in January, right? And in February, 23,577, 16,794. That's what? That's 70, 60, 61,000 or 60,000 less. And then the next year, 15,798. This time last year, we had the very lowest people being caught at the border or turned around, or even the ones just turned around, the lowest when he went into office. And he was bantering about the wall, because here's the thing about the wall, y'all. We can add all the conspiracy we want. We can say it's to keep Americans in, or we can say it's to keep illegals out, or we can say it's a line in the sand, like I think, for the Cold War, something they can see from satellite and say, this is America. You ain't bringing no superpower armies up in here. But with all the things that we can guess about what the wall's for, it's the one political promise that he made. It's the one that's drawn on and still has hope, because it can still be done. It's the one that he has fought for whatever reasons, because the numbers show me that from the time he's gotten into office, it spiked down like never, and now a year later it spiked up. But guess what? He was talking about his successes. He loves to brag about being successful. You have to put a lot of this into play to take the conspiracy part out. Okay, you got to try to think about how this man is. He loves to brag on anything. If he can brag on the lowest border security, and it was lower than Obama's, boy, rah, rah, rah. And he'll shoot you a 666 sign and give you some Illuminati hand signals and be happy. But guess what? The numbers ain't matching up. This is what's keeping him popular. There's barely anything else. Most every other campaign promise he made, that was made either, and I'm going to say it like I saw it. I saw some of his promises were made to hate-based people. Some of them were made to individual groups of people in America, and all of them were made to the corporations. All of them's come true. But I've watched companies leave. I watched them come and go. I watch business as usual, but the way he takes credit for it. So taking credit for this border thing, he's right. He came in, and whether he had 4 months at 20,000 and under, and then just went to a steady little 25, 30. But now in January it pops, or December pops up to 60,000. Actually in October, when he started bantering about it again, it went from 30,000 to 60,772. It jumped up double just because of political bantering about wanting the wall. Then the government shutdown in January, right? Boom, popped back up to 60,775, almost the same number. So every time he talks about it or makes a go at it and something happens, it spikes up. Now we're here in March, and he wants to look at it. You can't look at March statistics because we're in March, but he looks at February, the biggest spike ever. I'm looking back to 2014, at least since 2014. He's had the lowest year ever, 415,000 at the border compared to 569,000. The lowest year with Obama would have been 440,000. So he beat that by 30,000. He beat even the higher the next year, settling in as president, or letting things, taking a little money away from the border because it's not such a big issue. Even that next year, when a few people extra people snuck in, he was still 30,000 under Obama. All those promises and all those statistics that they're showing you about that part's true. I'm sitting here looking right at it. And all those are for years and the months of the year, and the totals at the end. But the thing is, all this points to the fact that he don't need a wall. Don't need a wall. It's cheaper to do it this way. Less people come in. Even with the spike, he's going to have super low numbers, or this will be one of the worst years ever. And that could also be indicators of other things, that some of the Central America problems we know are real. We know war's about to break out down in Venezuela. We know that maybe all be coming up in our backyard. That wall's not going to stop a flood of people. Nothing's going to stop a flood of people, y'all. That's something you might want to be prepared for, but don't be thinking about it all the time because it'll drive you crazy. What I want you to do is when you hear things about the wall, when you're sitting there and they're going to make this a national emergency, y'all. And let me get something straight. That is tripping me out because a national emergency to me would be like if an asteroid was coming and going to hit the United States in 3 days and they finally just get the balls to tell you, or California catches on fire and hops the desert and starts burning everything east of the Mississippi, or the Appalachian Mountains fall. That's national emergency. You know, you can't belittle or cry wolf with a law just to get your political way. These numbers show there is no national emergency, that he has been well below the president for 3 years before he was president. He has made a change at the border. It is workable now. It is doable. There are less drugs and crime coming from Mexican cartel gangs because the marijuana has been made, the cannabis is recreationally and medically legal, and hemp is legal in all 50 states. They got nothing to traffic across. Marijuana is being decriminalized. That was their bread and butter. Nobody hardly does cocaine anymore. And sure, the meth and the heroin trade's there, but it's up in the Northeast and it's coming from friggin' Canada. You need to look who supplies it. You need to look at all the lies before you jump on these things, y'all. Because all it's going to do, here you want to know what I think it's going to work for Trump on a lot of levels. If he gets his wall and he even has to bicker and fuss and pick away at it, you notice it went from 5 billion and now it's 8.6 billion. Where the extra 3.6 billion come, because the more support he gets, the higher the price is going to get. You watch, by the end of it, it's going to be a $20 billion job, if not bigger. And Mexico ain't paying for it, but we all forgot about that part of the promise. But oh well, we only got an 8-second attention span. But these numbers show that there's no need for it. He is such a braggart of a man and a president that he's got to get out there and brag about how he has crushed the border and made it the best, safest place it's ever been. He's been better than Obama. He's been better than Bush. He's been better than Clinton. He is just so much better at the border that takes away his whole argument for the need for the wall. That is what's called common sense, y'all. That is what you got to sit there and stop for a minute and say, wait a minute, that simplest of thoughts right there, above the frequencies that are busting me out, is the absolute simple truth. And truth can be that simple. Actually, truth is that simple. It's the lies that are complicated. It's the lies that have add-on costs. It's the lies that even need public support, because why would you need public support and change mind and have people arguing about things that are needed to be done? We got to get back to thinking, but here's your thing. When I ask y'all to research, I ain't telling you to do it because it's a good thing to do. I'm telling you because I do it. These sites, the Department of Homeland Security, all of them, everyone you want to go look into, they put up certain things. And yes, I understand for my conspiracy brothers and sisters out there, don't be getting on my ass. I know they can put up what they want to match whoever's running the show. That's fine. But some of this shit has been there for years. You can't change it. Or if you keep steady eyes on stuff like this, you'll notice that when they throw out numbers like 76,000, you're like, whoa, man, that's 20,000 more than normal. What's going on? And I can go back here to a place like this and look and see, yeah, I was right. And not think I was crazy. Not rely completely on my memory, just my conscious thoughts and data collection. That's whatever you want to call it. I try to get knowledge from these statistics and put it with the stories that I hear on a TV. The TV is running a lot of us. The TV is running a lot of y'all. And yeah, it was a right-wing news channel, I think, called OAN. And I watched it, and I probably would agree with 25 to 30% of it on there. The other stuff, I just see the political bannering and the making one look bad to make you look good. Well, nobody wants to look good from being good. So that's why I want you to research. Before you go jump into bed with somebody, before you sit there and say, rah, rah, this is my buddy, this is my leader, I'm going to vote for this person. I'm going to put this person in charge of my life and the decision making over my children and my planet. Before I would go as far to do that for somebody, I would stop for a minute and see if they're lying to me. Because if somebody's lying to you, they're not trying to help you. They're just using you. And that's a sad fact of us, mankind. Because some of us are liars, and some of us don't mind hurting the other one. Some of us don't mind the other one being ignorant or being stupid because it benefits them. Some want you to feel a certain way because they know that you're in control of how you feel. So wow, they would rather you feel oppressed. They would rather put shit out here and say shit, especially on that fucking TV, about this, that, or the other, and make you feel that way, make you feel somebody's gaining ground. You don't need public support for things that are right. I got friends. I love my tribe. It's diverse. My tribe is the planet, and people can just get along and talk. But I love to see it when all sides agree on one thing. Everybody agrees that you got to eat to live. Everybody agrees that you got to have clean water to sustain your life. Everybody agrees that something inside of somebody is there to love, not just to hate. We got to change some things. That one thing, one damn thing. Looking at the facts you're being lied to, and go to the people that ain't lying to you. It ain't me. It ain't anybody. It could be, matter of fact, it could be anybody in your life. If they love you and care about you, and they put your well-being out there with theirs, maybe not before them. I don't want to know what you're going to die for. I don't want to hear somebody say, I'm going to die for you. I'll die for you, baby. No, I'm going to live for you. So live for other people. Let them see your life as the example of the change, because we are the change, y'all. We're the change. We got to go look at stuff and say, man, no, that ain't right. And they're trying to stir trouble. Then we understand it. And again, I'm not getting stats so I can go argue with people. Now I know just to stay away from that conversation. I've learned with me personally, what draws me in is to not knowing when people make outrageous comments or give very strange opinions based on things that aren't even true. And I'm like, wow, you're believing. Because see, believing is so easy, and believing you can change day to day. You can believe something different every day you want. Living something is your proof. And what do you do and what do you think when ain't nobody else around? When it's just you. You ever walk by a piece of paper and pick it up just because it's on the floor? You ever look in the mirror and just talk to yourself about how much you hate somebody? What do you do when you're by yourself? Because that's who you are. Do you dance in the dark? Do you look up at the stars? Do you walk outside just so you can let your feet get wet? Well, dude, that's you too. So what you do when nobody else is looking, what you do when nobody else can see or judge you on, that's who you are. So always be that. It's good enough to do it for you, then do it when you're around other people. That's the change. That's the change, y'all. But check the lies out, research, knowledge up. You're all very smart, and and many of you tell me how smart you are all the time. So research. Don't come tell me your stuff with a story that's designed to be picked apart by both sides. It's all these lies got lies in them, but they are based on some stuff. So go back to the stuff. Mathematics and statistics are two of the best things in the world. Why do you think baseball has all them weird little pitching changes and batter changes during the game? And why do you think they shift the infield here and there per batter and pitcher? Why do you think all that's different? Because they go by statistics. And I hate to use baseball, but I can't remember who it was, but somebody said baseball is like life anyway. So I don't know. I think life is like life. And I think life is for us to live, and we can live it a lot better, and we can get through the natural changes coming with the mother that's going to be rough enough. But we can get through them with our brotherhood and our unity and the understanding and the picking out the lies and showing our brother and saying, hey, man, no, I don't want to talk about this no more until we got something. Well, we got something better to talk about anyway. I love y'all. Peace, and don't live in fear. And be smart. Be smart. Know exactly what you're talking about from now on. Don't go by a headline. Don't go by what something you saw on the news. Stop. Use that computer for something besides pot farm and Candy Crush and cussing people. use it for the knowledge that's in there, and you turn it into your life experience, and that's called wisdom. Knowledge and life experience is wisdom. So I'm telling you, be wise and research. I love you. Peace. Don't live in fear.